No Nation. Welcome to the FSU Voice of College Football post-game show. 30 seconds left in the game as the Noles are trying to drive down there to possibly end it a little bit closer. Driving down the 42-yard line. Ooh, guys, these are getting tougher and tougher as the year goes on. But I tell you what, as you see Brock Glenn, right there, keep from getting a sack, getting the ball off the tight end. We've been talking about this for about a month. There's all the reasons. Like, if this quarterback competition was close, if it was anywhere in the ballpark of close, then you got to start Brock Glenn. There's one guy's a fifth-year senior, supposedly hurt in camp. All these things that are coming out, and he's gone. He's a one-year rental. I think the guy in the booth hit it there. I don't know if you guys were watching the game, listening to the commentary. He pretty much said, "Hey, he's basically what Mackenzie Milton was for Jordan Travis is kind of what DJU has been for Brock Glenn." Well, rewind the clock back to that, and we were all livid. We never understood why you don't just run with Jordan Travis, because it was clear when Mackenzie got out there, outside of like one drive in that Notre Dame game, that Jordan Travis was your guy. He could run. He didn't have a broken leg and all that, and he gave you your best chance to win. I think that's what we saw from Brock Glenn tonight. I'll tell you what, it didn't look great early on. It wasn't the best thing ever, but he just looked comfortable out there. He was stepping up in the pocket. He was doing all these things. Of course, you had drops and things of that nature, but yeah, it's just night and day, the difference out there. This is the first game all year that I haven't come on here and said, if you swap quarterbacks, Florida State wins the game. But that's not, that may sound like, that's not like saying Cade Klubnik is bad. That's just saying Brock Glenn, he did his job tonight. Darion Williamson drops the touchdown. Perfect ball to Malik Benson. Gets called back for a holding. Beautiful ball on the back shoulder to the tight end. I believe it was Landon Thomas. No. Excuse me. Micah Hydanzi, a guy that we've heard has been tearing it up in practice, finally gets his opportunity on, I don't know if it was a regular route or a wheel route or what. I just seen, him running down the sideline, back shoulder throw, bit of hand fighting, but he gets his hands free, gets both hands on the ball. That's not the end of the world. He's a true freshman. A bit of a mistake there, but the elephant in the room, what lost this game tonight, was offensive line. It was offensive line. Spear Addicts Media, my guy Chris Jumpson, says it wasn't a win, but this team looks better with Brock, and this is the best D-line we have played all year. Best DBs, best linebackers, best defense we have played this season. Absolutely. And he looked comfortable out there. He had the one bad pick, but we don't know if a wide receiver ran the wrong route or not. That was a miscommunication. He thought the receiver was going one way, didn't end up going that way. So, yeah, I could not be happier with what I saw from Brock. And it's hard to believe you don't at least win two of those games with him back there. The defense is the damnedest thing. They got tore up like they have all year between the 20s, but in the red zone, two field goal blocks. Until that last touchdown. No, they didn't get the last touchdown there. They went for like 4 field goals, 1 touchdown out of their 6 red zone trips. They made a couple field goals, got 2 blocks, and got a touchdown. Really, really good job. Okay. Thank you. My friend KDog350 comes out. I guess they're already doing the interviews. Hakeem said it was his bad on the interception. So there you go. I had to delete a tweet, not because I didn't believe it, because guys, Twitter is toxic, dude. And that's to what Chris was saying, the second Brock got out there, you could just tell he looked comfortable in the pocket. He was making throws, doing things. And I tweeted, so far, Brock looks good to me out there. Well, he throws the pick, which we now know was Hakeem's fault. People just went, what the heck are you watching? What are you watching? I have no idea. It was like, I couldn't take it. I had to delete it. Like, I don't usually delete tweets. I've got all my takes out there that were wrong in the summer. They're all there. but I had to delete that one because I couldn't take it. I mean, people were just going nuts. And here's what I'm going to tell you: Encyclopedia, YouTube live comments on my channels are not worse than Twitter. It's not even close. We have a couple trolls. The Tennessee chick that shows up every time, but she isn't showing up saying just nasty stuff. She's making her little joke. Um, the Twitter thing, when I said Brock looked good out there, and the nastiness in the comments from my followers and people that I like, I couldn't believe it. But I get it. We're all pissed off. I said a curse word. I had an issue with how they started the game. It seemed to me at the beginning of the game, they're just trying to get Brock to throw it real quick to settle him down, get him some confidence. But looking in hindsight, Brock wasn't the one that needed the help. The offensive line was the one that needed the help. And Lawrence Toafili, I'm going to continue to bang this drum all year long. Toafili needs touches early in the game on early downs, and they refuse to do it. They refuse to hand him the damn ball until we're down 17 points every week, and I don't understand it. The first 8 plays of the game, 7 passes, 1 handoff to Toafili, and it was the high snap over his head. At one point in time, Toafili had 11 yards, and the rest of the offense was negative something. Running backs, like, they have to get some kind of rhythm. They need to take chances. You saw what Clemson did. They stuck with the run all night. Moffitt didn't have some great average, but what it does is it helps your time of possession. It brings the linebackers and the safeties in. The touchdown we finally got, they gave it to 9. They gave it to 9. He didn't break one for 100 yards or nothing. He got one for 2 yards. He had one snuffed. He had one for 6 yards. But all of a sudden, Brock dropped back and had all day to hit a tight end for a touchdown. 3 is the other one. We said it's 3 and 9. 3, I don't think he got a carry till the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how Sam Singleton keeps coming in the game before 3, because he's lost. I don't hate Sam Singleton. He's a redshirt freshman or whatever, but every time he's been on the field, he's been lost, or just the moment's been he hasn't made a play. Not trying to be too negative, but yeah, I just hopefully I've been calling this at spring. Maybe they will treat Toafili like a running back one, give him the ball early, and then start bringing in Cam, because maybe it's just what the offense is. This offense is just throw to set up the run instead of run to set up the pass. But Toafili is far and away your best player on offense, and for whatever reason, they will not commit to running the ball with Lawrence Toafili, and it's driving me nuts. I'm not going to harp on it all night. Me and my friends in the group chat, we were kind of arguing about it. It's just one of those things. At running back, if you're not moving backwards, you're moving forward, and you keep going with it. Good things happen. Runs break, things of that nature. And we've seen it in the past with Toafili. We've seen his crazy runs. We saw what he did in the ACC championship last year. We've yet to see the Wildcat. I don't understand that. But yeah, I'm not trying to go do negative, guys. Brock Glenn, we can do something moving forward with that. He made play after play after play after play, especially in that second half. The defense came fired up in the second half. Obviously, they gave up the big run late, but still, I mean, the red zone defense it's been good all year. They got some issues on the 3rd and longs and stuff. But as far as Glenn, let me look up his stat line now that the game is over. He looked damn good all game. And if the receivers would have caught the balls, he would have had a hell of a stat line. He would have been, and they threw the stats up there. Like, he was something for 200 yards and 2 interceptions in all of his appearances up to this game. This game, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, over 200 yards, I'm pretty sure, as I go to pull him up here. Let's just see here. FSU Clemson box score. Guys, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat and I will try to get them. Look, it's disappointing, but I think we've got our guy moving forward. I think, and you never know, it's just one game, but super, super happy with what I saw with Brock. He's not going to get upset. He's not going to mail it in. You see him making those runs in the second half. Beautiful. 240 yards of offense is pathetic. Yeah, it is, but that's on the wide receivers and the offensive line, William. Simple as that. they left 300 yards out on the field, just with penalties, unfortunately. Brock Glenn, 23 of 41 for 228, 2 touchdowns and a pick. How many drops did he have? Okay, we got the tight end dropped one, Ja'Kai dropped one, Williamson dropped one. Okay, that's 3 drops. You got an incompletion. I guess it's not counted as an incompletion, but you had the completion to Benson that came back. That's 4. Which one am I missing, chat? I got 4 right there. So if you add those 4, he's 27 of 41 for a good 300 yards, maybe 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. I mean, dude looked good. I appreciate K-Dog letting me know that Hakeem did take responsibility for that play, because that was his one bad play of the night. Did I miss something? Was there a play? Was there a bad play from Brock other than that interception? Here's what Brock did that we've been missing all year long, which has been just so aggravating. When DJU is in, 1 sack, one unblocked pass rusher coming in. That's it. 1 drop into a shell. That's it. You're not going to score. It's over with. Brock Glenn fought and fought and fought. How many 4th downs? 3 4th down conversions? I mean, he was hitting guys in the hands all night. Be decisive with the ball. He had a few tips. He made a few plays just throwing it out of bounds to avoid sacks that were just, I mean, whoo! I feel good about Duke next week. I'll say that. K4E says Hakeem is our best wide receiver. Let's talk about that. Free the youngins. Free the youngins. Okay, we've been talking about this a lot, and it's fair. Listen to some of the other people talk, and even myself. Like, be careful what you wish for. That's what we were saying earlier in the year. Like, obviously, if they'd have them on the field if they're ready. Well, it's been getting more and more aggravation as it went on. More and more aggravation. And it takes DJ first. It takes Roydell Williams getting hurt for Toafili to get any carries. And then in 2 games, he carries it like 30 something for 6 yards per carry. And then you go in this game, and again, you don't start handing it to him in the 3rd quarter, and that's when shit turns around. So it is what it is. The wide receivers, man, I don't know what to say about the wide receivers. I don't know if it's Ron Dugan's issue. I don't know if he's not coaching them up, what he's not evaluating. But it's tough, and it's the majority. Senior. It's Darion Williamson. It's Maury Smith. How many bad snaps did he have tonight? Sorry, we're sticking with the wide receivers. Another thing, and here's my problem. And I can get it, and it's the argument that some people have made, like, oh, well, it's not like he's breaking them. Toafili was only running for 2-4 yards, getting stuff, this and that. Here's what I want out of this offense, and here's my argument. How many successful screenplays did we have? And how many screens were almost pick sixes or just completely blown up plays? How about instead of throwing those fucking screens, excuse my language, I'm so sorry, Mark. How about instead of throwing those screens, hand it off, run a sweep, do the Wildcat, anything. I truly don't understand why we haven't seen the Wildcat at all this year. Maybe Bless Harris was just the key to that, or they feel like if they do that, nobody can, they'll be able to key on the run, but I don't understand it. Again, the best defense we've played all year by a pretty good margin, and the screens, it's belligerent with the screens. I mean, they're never blocked up, never. And 90% of the time, they're break. I don't know if they key something on it, but if you can throw all those damn screens, instead of throwing those screens, commit to the running game. Amelia Islandole, one of our members over at the Renegade Report. She's always here at the Voice of College Football postgame show. 1 in 5 sucks, all kinds of sucks, but I'm really, really liking what I'm seeing from Brock. I've wanted him in after the second half of game 2. Looking forward to seeing what the young bloods bring to the field. Ari Wilmer says, George, the damn O-line who can't run block. Can they pass block? The only time they can pass block is when you run the damn ball. And we refuse to do it. And here's what a good running back can do. Lawrence Toafili brings you the same exact thing Jordan Travis did. Even if it's a bad play, even if it isn't blocked up perfect, yeah, he may get stopped on one, but on the next carry, he may break it. He can cut it out off tackle, even though it was supposed to be in the A gap. And that's what DJU couldn't do. That's what Brock was able to do tonight. And I get it. I mean, the offensive line is terrible. They can't run block or pass block. But at the very beginning of a game, which is easier, to just go out and do your job and get in a rhythm? Run blocking. But I mean, apparently they can't. But DJU is also the best quarterback on this team, and Kyle Morlock was the best tight end. Conrad Hussey has really let me down. I'm really disappointed in Conrad Hussey. I don't know if what his deal is, but the last 2 weeks he has not put in the effort. He doesn't wrap up. Bad body language. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, I do know what the deal is. We're 1-5. I didn't expect him. I expected him to be one of the people to really fight and scrap in this season. But yeah, that really hurt my feelings. The effort. Mike Holly. Oh, that's a reply to somebody else. Yeah, it's tough, man. If you will commit to running the ball, linebackers, safeties creep up. It opens up the passing game. But you can't do it when you're down 17 points. And even anything. Here's my thing. Okay, so everybody's telling me, well, they can't run block. He's only getting this and that. All right, first of all, he's averaging 5 yards per carry on the year going into this game. First of all. Second of all, what happened on your first 2 drives? Okay, you're telling me we can't run block, but you passed it 7 out of 8 times right off the field. No time elapsed off the clock. Same thing in one of the late possessions in the game. You get the ball and you throw it 3 times, with whatever. We had plenty of time. 2-minute drill. You get a first down instead of handing it off, trying to work it to where the clock's low. No. You pass it, give it right back to Clemson, then call a timeout and let them get down there. I can't remember if we blocked that field goal or not, but it's just, man, it's aggravating. But yeah, Brock, I'm happy with what I saw there. I really like what I saw from Brock. It's really, it's going to be hard because Clemson, again, we probably faced the best defense we played all year. It just makes you wonder what it would have looked like against SMU or Georgia Tech or Boston College or any of these other teams you play. F55 SU says 33 is a star in the making. Yeah, big fan of Edwin Joseph. He came in a little hot on that one blitz, got a little excited. That's something that we've had all year with the D-line and the DBs getting to the quarterback and not being able to finish the tackle. They've got to break down and just it's not easy. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. Marvin Jones finished that play up, but yeah, Edwin Joseph is all over the field. Knowles is in position a lot, but yeah, I don't know. That was a good play that receiver made, but he's got to find the ball. And then the body language afterwards, like throwing your hands up. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's tough. Wish we could see some of Lester. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Lester, but I don't know. The DBs early in the game, I saw them. I believe a couple banjo plays where the wide receivers crossed. They actually switched them off. They were communicating early in the game before the offense just completely went in a hole in that first half. So I was happy there, but in the middle of the game, yeah, they really had some issues there. But yeah. Bill Kukuza says our defense is terrible. They can't tackle a trash can, only themselves. Our offensive line needs to improve. Brock looks to be the quarterback. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you call terrible, Bill. And for FSU standards, okay. But the red zone defense has been pretty damn good. I don't know where it ranks, but the red zone defense has been pretty damn good. For what the offense is and how they keep giving the ball back and keep giving the ball back. Um, the defense did enough for you to win this game. I don't know what to tell you, but the offense has to do their part. They have to do their part. Why is nobody mentioned Alabama lost today? We can all drink to that. Woo! Them SEC storylines, boy. You hear him cooking. Did you hear him in the? Did you hear him in the booth? Oh, we can't really tell much about Alabama off this Vandy loss. You go back to last year, Florida State plays a team close. Oh, you can't put these fuckers in the playoff. They're sorry. They're this and that. But Kentucky takes Georgia down to the wire. Alabama straight up loses to Vandy. Yeah, the SEC. It is what it is. They got the recruits and they got the publicity and all that, but it's a weird, weird year in football this year. There's not Georgia and it's not Alabama. We'll have to see Ohio State if they're the team, or Texas are the teams that kind of take off with it. But it sure looks like anybody could lose at any given time this year. That was kind of some of the hope going into this game against Clemson. Uh, you know, because when you saw them week 1 against Georgia, you thought, "Ooh, they're not very good," and then they went on to score like 18 touchdowns in a row after that. So many drives ended from drop passes. Yeah. What I can't remember what happened, but there was one big pass play. Maybe it was the one to Benson where Andre Otto was in there. He was getting a bit of praise early on for how he was looking out there, but he gets pancaked and they call it a hold. They said he pulled him down, but man, I didn't see it. It just looked like he fell down because he pancaked him. So yeah, just tough. Who played worse, the wide receivers or the O line? It's a toss up. It is a toss up. I gotta say, I don't know, the wide receivers, because I don't know, it's a toss up. I was all O line. That was going to be the main thing, the worst position group on the review, until the wide receivers just it just continually dropping balls. Mike Hawley says worst O line in D1. It may be, it's down there, um, but yeah, tough. I'm not sure who you're talking about with a Z or a V in his name, but maybe Micah Hyde Danzy. He's a running back, if that's who you're talking about. The true freshman running back on the wheel route. Mentioned that earlier. Apparently, he's been one of the guys just absolutely tearing it up at practice. Got his opportunity, didn't quite make it. Lawayne McCoy fails to field a punt on the 11. That was a pretty crappy thing, but Florida State ends up getting the stop later on, so that didn't cost us. Um, yeah, Vaughn. So on that play, Otto got pushed down. He got pancaked. There's no question there. But the call was that when he got pancaked, he held the guy's arm and pulled him down with him. To me, I think that's just a crazy call, because even if he had a hold of his arm, he was going down. I do agree with that. And there was a similar play on a special teams, one of those blocks where it was the same thing. The FSU D line pancaked and went down with the offensive line, but we didn't get the call. But yeah, outside of that, I'm not gonna. I thought the refs were pretty good in this game. There weren't a bunch of missed calls. I appreciated. This is probably the best ACC referee game I can remember, if I'm being honest. That horse collar slash they tried to call it face mask and then horse collar, no call there. I could not believe that. My head was spinning when they didn't call that, but it was the right call, because he had a hold of it. He had a hold of his horse collar, but he didn't horse collar tackle him. It started on the side of his shoulder, and his hand just slipped around to the back, and he pulled him steadily down. That is not a horse collar. They articulated that pretty good on the broadcast. But yeah, pretty well called game. There's nothing to blame on the refs. And you heard me. I did my crying and complaining about what Mike Norvell did, but this game ain't on Mike Norvell either. I mean, Mike, he called up some good pass plays for Brock, gave us plenty of opportunities, good plays on fourth down. It is what it is. The wide receivers and the offensive line cost us this game. Could the defense have played better? sure, but you know, it is what it is. Take all the older guys that don't want to play with heart. I will lose with the youngsters. Yeah, look, it's hard to argue at this point. How you keep they made the move at tight end. That was obviously a good move. We saw big plays out of the tight ends tonight. We saw Omar Graham Jr. back due to injury, playing a lot more snaps. He looked a lot better. So shout out to Omar Graham Jr., somebody who took a lot of heat. I'll have to go back and look. I'm sure he probably got hurt on some stuff, but he looked better in coverage than Lunday has of late. Made quite a few good plays. Never seen a college football team regress as bad as FSU this year. The dumb mistakes just keep coming. Coaching must be terrible. Lowly Vanderbilt beat Alabama, and FSU can't run on or off the field. Well, I mean, Michael, I will say, like, the example of Vanderbilt beating Alabama doesn't exactly help your case. Like, that just goes to show um, how the talent and everything doesn't, in this day and age, like, you've got to be able to go out there and execute. It doesn't matter who you are, who you're playing. I mean, Vandy's pretty close to the bottom of the barrel, and Alabama was number 1 in the country. Um, so I get what you're saying, but here's my issue. I'm going to tell you guys what happened this season. Back away from this game and just try to give you an idea how we got there. Because I had this thought earlier. If you go back and look at Mike Norvell's career, he was at ASU, then he goes to Memphis. He was at Memphis for 4 years, and then he came to Florida State. Well, we all know the cycle. It's a 4-year cycle in recruiting. Some guys 5 years through red shirts and things of that nature, but it's a 4-year cycle. The 5th year is like a rebuilding or a reloading year. They thought they went for a reload. This is the first time in his career, Mike Norvell's career, that he has faced that 5th year, that reload or rebuild. Now, people, and myself included, are like, oh, well, we just missed on the portal this year. That's why we suck so bad. Obviously, we didn't recruit out of high school and develop enough. Nobody's going to argue that. But we missed on the portal. That's the big difference. Yeah, sure. This was not our best portal class. And I agree. We missed on a bunch of evaluations and missed on a bunch of guys who could be making plays. But here's the thing. Florida State didn't just lose the 2023 transfer class in this draft that had 10 guys taken. You guys understand that? We talked about it all the time. Mike Norvell just doesn't get 1-year rentals out of the portal. Way more of the time, it's 2- and 3-year guys who develop at Florida State, like Johnny Wilson, like Fabian Lovett, like Jerry and Jones. All these guys went in the draft. So the gems of their recruiting, the best transfer portal players that Norvell picked from 2020 to 23, they're all gone. And even the transfers like Jordan Travis from 2019 before he even got there. So that's it. That's the deal. People, they understand the rebuilding thing on the 4-year high school thing, but they don't understand, like, and I didn't even understand. I didn't really think about it till today. And you saw that graphic. Our team is 80% high schoolers and 20% transfers. We've only got 19 transfers, 20 transfers on this roster. So that's the big difference. We were closer to 30, 40%, I believe, last year. And yeah, you built that up over 3 years, 4 years. It was two 1-year guys, a couple 2-year guys, a couple 3-year guys. And yeah, we way underestimated the rebuild. Thought it was going to be a reload. I say we. All I could do is go off of the reports we're getting, what people are saying about practice, the recruiting rankings and things of that nature. But Mike Norvell, the staff, they envisioned a reload, and guys, it's a rebuild. But here's what I will say. You go back to 2021, and that's what we were talking about with the whole DJU thing, why we wanted to see Brock Glenn earlier. Because, like, at least in 2021, you found Jordan Travis. You found different pieces that could work. You found which guys on the offensive line you could work with the next year, et cetera, and you were able to sell that offense for playmakers. That's the positive coming out of this, guys. We have a chance to turn this into 2021 and get something going, possibly get to the end of the season, make the coaching changes, get a big recruiting class, get a big portal class to add to the guys that we end up keeping from this class, the guys that worked out. I'll have to go look at how many people can come back, Jaylen Brown, etc. But yeah, I have no doubt that Mike can get this thing back and get back for competing for a championship. It might take a year or two, 2 years tops, I think. But after that, there will be no more. There will be no more options like this. The next year, like you're just gonna have to keep building. You're gonna have to. Um, so yeah, I think he gets an opportunity to replace the staff, bring new guys in, do all those things. But yeah, just a gross misevaluation of wide receiver and offensive line. This offensive line has 13,000 snaps that we're losing this year. 13,000. I've defended Atkins. I was wrong. I thought we had all these seniors coming back, and the dudes you recruited in 2021, 22 were going to be ready to start stepping up, filling these roles. But as we see them get up there, Andre Otto just gets bulldozed, and you still haven't seen Armella. Early's been pretty good. It's just time to make some coaching changes. Unfortunately, I'm not going to hammer on that. But again, any questions you guys have, just throw them out, and I'll answer them, and we'll talk about it. Uh, tough loss at home to Clemson. But I'll tell you this: we didn't go out there and get embarrassed. It wasn't, a complete and total joke. It wasn't nowhere near even as bad as last week. So, yep. Norvell needs to fire himself as offensive coordinator and get in a good one. I'll tell you what, I'm heavy on this. I was heavy on this. Like, he needs to just give the offensive coordinator play calling duties so he can concentrate and be a CEO. Um, and I still think that's probably true. But I will say it's gotten to the point now to where I think Norvell does have a pretty good idea of what this team needs to do to make plays, but they're just not making them. Like I don't Mike Norvell can't make those guys catch it, and they can't make the freaking offensive line just not get destroyed. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest part of that isn't so much that he can't call plays; it's that Mike Norvell has to be able to figure out how he can manage his coaches better and the rosters better and all that good stuff. And yeah, hard to argue with not getting Atkins out of here because it sucks. Such a big Atkins fan, but recruiting. You know, you still got Solomon Thomas. You were supposed to have a top 5 offensive line class this year. You lost both the Texas kids. You're looking at maybe we have Mario Nash on campus, looking to flip him. We'll see. It's just going to be tough. If Alex Atkins can be demoted from offensive coordinator to offensive line coach only and bring in a stellar offensive line class, like maybe there's some way for him to stay, but yeah, it's not looking good. And the same thing for Dugans. You just can't. It's their job to identify the talent, recruit it, bring it in, and get it ready. And they just aren't. They just aren't. Uh, RT Strider says Dugans and Atkins are first on the block, with Shannon not that far after. Um, yeah, I mean, Shannon's he's been on the block for me since 2022. So he's got the guys, he's got the linebackers playing a lot better. But this is Florida State. That's the difference. And again, this is Mike Norvell's first time in this situation. Um, but yeah, it's just different. You can't settle for these things. When you're winning and doing all that, it's fine and dandy. But when you're 1-5, yeah, they don't fly. So changes. But again, take it back to 2021. At least we're seeing things moving in the right direction. I think we got the right quarterback finally out there. It took 6 weeks to figure it out. If Brock can go out there and get a win versus Duke next week, we can get Toafili going. Maybe they can get a little momentum going. And we still got Notre Dame. We still got Miami. Who knows? We can knock one of those teams off. That would be really nice. But at 1-5 with 6 games left, looking rough. I don't think Norvell wanted to play the young guys to start. Well, obviously, yeah, he didn't. He refused. I don't know. I've said all year that I think the backups across the board were just better, and they were making the backups on the other side of the ball look worse. I think Edwin Joseph, Quindarius Jones, 24, the two linebackers, Lolo Haya, 95. I think just a lot of those second string players versus the second string O line and Brock Glenn were making him look bad in practice. That's the only thing I can figure, because it's just damning that how can every joker with his hands down his pants on the couch look and say, "Ooh, why not put these guys in? They're better. How about well, this guy obviously can't do it. Why don't we put this guy in?" Um, it stinks. And I guess that's some of the disillusionment that Mike Norvell's had in his face and stuff like that. But as a positive, he did look more fired up. The team, outside of a few players here and there, they never gave up. They really got after it. So the effort was there outside of a few players. Let's see here. USC just lost. Good for them. Good for them. Give me mayhem. I want everybody. Everybody. Norvell didn't want to play JT. Y'all remember that? Yeah, that Mackenzie Milton, JT Jordan Travis situation, sure looking awful similar this year, but we'll see. We'll see what happens moving forward with these wide receivers. There's just, it's really tough. Who are the young wide receivers? So I still think Hakeem, Vincent, and Portier are probably your best bets. Portier, I think, that's another drop. I think Portier maybe had a drop, but it was a tougher one in this game as well. But yeah, I would love to see more Lewayne and Elijah and stuff. I just think that goes back to recruiting. I just don't think the guys are there. Thompson did his job. Chris Thompson, he went and got 2 stud tight ends in this past class, and you see it. You see him out there. This is very true by Wilmer. He says, how much did Hill and Lucas impact the wide receiving core? I think Destin Hill is the big one. I think Destin Hill might have been the star of this offense. So, yeah. A lot of stuff, man. A whole lot of stuff. Yeah. Poitier dropped to 40 yards. That's another one. So that's what, 6 drops we've counted. He would have been, if you add all those, he would have been 30 of 41 for what, 300 something yards. Yeah. Just, and all amongst all the negativity, Brock, he really looked like a gamer out there. I mean, exactly what we said we hoped he would be. He made some tough runs, decisive with the ball, got it out. And, knowing that was Hakeem's fault on that interception really drives it home. What would have happened? Whew. What would have happened if they would have just gave Brock a chance to start in game 2? We'll never know. We will never know. But special teams, we've got one elite ass unit, that's for sure. Special teams, woo! We can block a field goal, that's for dang sure. I'll tell you that right now. Field goal blocking fool. Let's see here. So, Cade Klubnik was 19 of 33, 235, 2 touchdowns. Pretty pedestrian. Maffa, 25 carries, 154 yards. Klubnik, 11 carries, 62 yards. Yeah. Them running it is what killed us for sure. Rushing. Lawrence Toafili, 10 carries for 16 yards. Brock Glenn, 5 carries for 15 yards. Cam Davis, 6 carries for 13 yards. Yeah, that's tough. Landon Thomas, 7 catches, 80 yards, 11.4 average. Number 18, Landon Thomas, your leading wide receiver. And he couldn't get on the field until now. And we were told it's because he's, too young. You don't want to see him out there. You think it's bad with Kyle Morlock dropping every single pass? Wait till you see a true freshman out there. Well, we've seen it for 2 weeks, and it's pretty damn good. Amari Williams got a touchdown. It's not showing up here in the box score for me for some reason. But yeah, Hakeem Williams had 4 catches for 53 yards. Ja'Kai Douglas with that touchdown. Malik Benson, 3 catches, 39 yards. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. You never answered, do you think Odell leaves? Do I think Odell leaves? I wish. Here's my wish. I wish he would drop down to just be an analyst, because the new coaching rules, as you see with Ernie Sims, you can coach. You can coach. So, like, if recruiting obviously has passed him by. There's no arguing it at this point. So why not be an analyst? You can coach on the field without having to do any of the recruiting, and then you bring a stud to recruit. It's a really touchy subject. I think the best thing to do would be to part ways. I truly believe it. Now, do I think the defensive tackles are coached up way better than the defensive ends? Hell yeah, not even close. Defensive tackles are way better than defensive ends. In the first half, that was the big problem for the defense. Defensive ends could not get off a block. Second half, it seemed like more like they Fuller adjusted. He was lining Peyton up at tackle, and it was confusing Clemson, and he was getting some good rush lanes and moving people around. But when they just set up a regular 4-down line and try to rush the passer, especially with man coverage behind it, it's a no-go. It does not work. That was one of the kind of critical play in the game that, kind of put it to where Clemson was in cruise control mode. Was a 3rd down, I believe, where they did that. It was 4 guys with man coverage behind them, no QB spy, nothing. Both the linebackers went with the tight end, and Cade Klubnik just right down the field. Hey George, is Jen doing okay? Yeah, Jen's doing great. This is the Voice of College Football post game show. It's just simulcast to the Renegade Report if you're watching it there. Jen was just with us on last night's show, and she's doing great. She was out for a while when she had a medical deal, but no, she's been back with us for a couple weeks. She had a dinner mommy-daughter date the other night. She maybe missed the episode, but no, Jen's doing amazing, except for the fact of our team's team. And yeah, she's killing it with the roast. If you haven't watched the roast from Monday, they had on Silk from what's it called? The Flow Factory. Her and Tiny Hat, of course, friends with him going back to forever. That's what their kind of first experiences. So it's cool for them, everything full circle, to have him on and have some fun. But yeah, we're kicking. We're still getting through this. Last year I was kind of reluctant to cover baseball. We're like, this is what I care about. This is what I want to progress in. I want to become a credentialed, all this stuff. But yeah, this year we'll probably cover baseball pretty good. We'll probably waste 20 minutes per episode moving forward on baseball if they can be pretty good this year. That's for damn sure. Wilmer says, take all the wide receivers at 15 yards and fire Jugs balls at them to get better hand-eye coordination. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, have we just misevaluated on all these guys? And like, they just can't catch, or like, is there something going on in practice? Is it just a mental thing? Because what we heard all year is that it was nothing like what we're seeing on game day was nothing like in practice. But the announcers had a different thing to say when we actually see the games. They've been saying all year on the broadcast that it matches exactly what's at practice. So you guys keep talking about the run game. There's nothing open in the middle. Really? You can only run it at the A gap? Is that the only option? You can't run off tackle? Toafili can't make a cut if the A gap's blocked up? He can't run it from the wildcat? I mean, Moffitt didn't do much all night. 2-3 yards per carry. But then one pop, you know. But yeah, I know there's a million different post games going on. We appreciate you. Thanks for stopping in, Amelia Island, Traby, Noel, Wilmer, Von Meyer Jr., James Williams, Kevin Hickson, Eddie Varnes Fishing. We got James Williams, Titan Rama, Ton of you guys. We appreciate everybody for coming in. Everybody commenting, asking questions. Yeah, we got about another 15 minutes, so keep them coming. Keep the comments coming. I think I've covered about everything. If there's anything I haven't covered, any questions you have, again, throw them out there, and I'll try to reply the best I can. Brock, baby. That's all. That's the big takeaway from this game. Brock is a gamer, and he played his ass off tonight. Just hands off to Brock. Some fans may talk crap. Again, like I said on Twitter, my people were at my throat for saying he looked good in the first half. He threw an interception, and they're asking me what the hell I'm watching and all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what other people are watching because, again, I don't know what Mike Norvell's watching. I don't know anything. But yeah, it's just really tough as a Florida State fan to sit here and watch these games. But I will say the second half and the fight that was shown, the no quit mentality, Brock Glenn making play after play after play. I really like the look of that. So yeah, Duke gotta win. Duke gotta win. Duke. You lose that Duke game, oh boy. James Williams says we are good next year. Yeah, yeah. I think there's something you can really build there with Brock. We'll see. It's just one game, but yeah, the takes about Brock and talking about how he looked against Louisville and Georgia, like you can't. Like he never got a chance. He was hurt all year. He was a true freshman. He didn't get a week to prepare. They said it like 3 times on the broadcast. It's the first time he's ever been able to prepare and go to the game as an actual starter. And yeah, it looked damn good. Yeah. So I mean, the question with Brock is like, how good does it go? How much better does he improve by the end of the year? Because here's the thing with this coaching staff: half of them are going to be gone. I truly believe that. I think it needs to happen. So if Tokars goes, if Atkins goes, the problem with Brock would be whoever you bring in, and then whatever you bring in a portal quarterback. Is Brock willing to back up a portal quarterback after what he went through at the beginning of this year and then having to start the rest of the year? Is he going to be willing to do that, or will he transfer? And that's just a modern reality of college football. I'm not trying to say he will or he's that kind of guy. I love Brock Glenn. I love his competitive fire. I love how he's just not bothered by anything. He always kind of says the right thing. He's got that kind of, country boy swag going. I've always liked him. But yeah, you just have to think about that if you're a player. And if you're Lawrence Toafili, I know everybody doesn't agree with me, but first 8 plays, you get 1 touch and it's a bad snap, and they don't go back to you for like another quarter. I don't know. James says Travis needs to join the staff. It seems like when Travis is on the sideline, they certainly play better. There's no doubt. Not the wide receivers, unfortunately, but it seems like a lot of other people or the offensive line. But can we buy a O line and a defensive tackle, defensive TN for next year? They'll damn sure go out and get some. But the problem is you got to start getting them out of high school, and 1 in 5. We'll see how this year ends up. You've got to get guys that can come in here and just recruit no matter what. We need some aces on the staff, and it's just tricky because they're gonna the early signing day is I believe like December 4th now. So you're not going to be able to get a staff in time. You're not going to be able to get a staff in place to like really make any kind of difference for that February, the regular signing day. It's just such a small group of players by that point, and you're against teams that have had these relationships for years and years. That's what's so damning about all this. Sorry, guys. Hair's all jacked up. But that's what's so damning about all this. And I get it. You hear people talking about, and I do it some. It seems like the media sometimes just wants to poke fun, video the goofiest shit, make fun of stuff, and it just like makes it look bad on the program. You're trying to go on viral on Twitter, dunking on your team. But when we do these shows, I mean, shit, I do a show on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Basically 6 days a week, either myself or somebody else on my channel or over here at the Voice of College Football channel is doing a show. Like, we can't just not talk about it. So you're going to have to keep this staff together, and you're recruiting guys knowing that you might get fired or they may make a change. So I don't know how you handle that. I don't know if certain people are told to maybe take a less hands-on approach, and certain guys like Pastor Tane and Yak Johnson are given more, you know, important roles, do more. I don't know how that works. That'd be a good one to ask a former player, coach. If we can get them on the show, maybe we can do that on Tuesday. But yeah, just a tough situation. But the key moving forward is what we've been screaming since after that first loss, and especially the second one. The rest of this year, you're 1-5. This is Florida State. It's all over. Expectations off the table. ACC titles, all those things are off the table. It's over with. What we have to figure out between now and the end of the season is who can play. Who are the playmakers for this offense built for playmakers? We got to figure out who they are and figure out how to retain them. Hakeem Williams, he's got to stay here. Like I just talked about with Brock Glenn, you would like to make that work because he looks like a plus player. Landon Thomas, Amari Williams, make sure those guys are locked in. Cam Davis, keep him locked in. The young DBs, Quindarius Jones. I didn't see him tonight. Maybe he's banged up. Did y'all see 16 on defense tonight at all? I don't remember seeing Quindarius Jones one time, but maybe that's just a TV copy deal and they didn't throw at him. But Quindarius Jones, Edwin Joseph. I know that Kirkland didn't have a great game today. He got absolutely ran over. So maybe he's not one of them, but I think he could be a good third or fourth safety for you. I got no problem with him. Cypress probably played his best game. He had a loss, a few bad plays there, but he had a bunch of good plays too. Kevin Hickson says, "Who is your team leader?" The offense, to me, it's Toafili, and that's why I'm so pissed. I don't understand why they won't give him the damn ball. But on defense, number 5 all day long. Number 5 on defense, and I think Toafili's your leader on offense. I guess Brock's going to have to be your leader moving forward. Like Hakeem is Hakeem is your most NFL-like body, your most explosive, yards after the catch, all that. I think he's probably the best player on the offense. But Lawrence Toafili and his knowledge and feel for the game, and he's been running behind this same, he's been running behind the same crap O-line for 4 years. He's been dealing with it. He knows how to use it. But this coaching staff is so bent on using him as a tailback and throwing him screens with nobody blocking to get him destroyed that they won't just hand him the ball. And it's driving me nuts. I'm sorry I keep harping on that. I know that's probably getting on your nerves. Von Meyer says 16 was playing. I'll have to go back and watch. Tennessee just lost. Holy crap. So last week, Georgia loses, top 4 team. Number 1 goes down. Now number 4 just went down. So I guess Texas and Ohio State are going to be 1 and 2 come tomorrow. Wow, let's go. I'm all for anarchy. But I'll tell you what, this makes it worse. This makes it so much worse. Like FSU could have taken a step back and been a 9-3 team and got into the playoffs with how this year's looking. Like it's so crazy. There's no good teams out there. We could have just been different. Oh man, that shit's funny. Go Hogs, Arkansas. Arkansas takes down number 4, unranked Arkansas, and Vandy takes down number 1 Alabama. But those are just, that's just the gauntlet of the SEC right there. That's just the gauntlet. Yeah. Yep. It's just crazy. South Carolina beats Kentucky, 31 to whatever. Then Kentucky goes out and does what they do. Then you see South Carolina get smoked today. It's just funny. Who's good in college football? Like I said earlier, it's down to Ohio State and Texas, but everybody else in the country is like, meh. I mean, look at that. Georgia did what they did to Clemson week 1. That's still impressive, but shit, you look back at that game last week against Georgia and Alabama, like, was that really the highest class of football? maybe that was the most talent in the country on the field at one time. But yeah, that Kevin Hickson says Navy and Army. That's funny. Uh, they've definitely started out hot. But yeah, college football is certainly crazy this year. It's a new era with these iPads and everything. It's the in-helmet communication, NIL, transfer portal. There's so many moving parts. Um, yeah, Ole Miss they blew somebody out today. I forget one of the teams I just mentioned, but South Carolina. But a lot of people think that Lane Kiffin is the guy for Florida. Uh, we were talking about on the show. I was kind of alone. Everybody's like, that'd be the worst thing for anybody in the state of Florida for Lane Kiffin to go to UF, and I get it. He could be like the old ball coach over there with all his antics and tweets and things of that nature. And I have no doubt, as Jen likes to say, um, he would crawl through broken glass to get to Florida. I believe all that. But my thing with Lane Kiffin is like everything that people complain about Mike Norvell is Lane Kiffin. So I don't understand, like, because I know Florida's going to help you and all, but he's in the SEC at Ole Miss. They've never won anything or whatever. I get that. I'm the biggest one that talks about that, but they're still in the SEC with all that money. Like, I don't. If you're just going to recruit in the 20s and do the portal just like Mike at Ole Miss, and then you're set up this year to be. This was supposed to be Ole Miss was supposed to be like Florida State last year. Built all these people, yada yada. You got Jackson Dart coming back for a third year. So we'll see. I think nothing's as good as it bad as it ever is in college football. I think it's just kind of a transition. Wilmer says George Lawrence needs to hire you, if not his agent. Love your passion for his talent. Not his fault. There is no O line for him. Yeah, no doubt. I get it. I'm just kind of on this. Maybe it's because I thought it since the very beginning, but I've just never understood this need to separate running back and tailback, and they're wanting to throw it to it. The screen game has just not worked. It's like, if you want to say we can't rush the ball, that's fine. But every time you rush it, it's not about to be a pick six or get somebody injured. Like, I don't. Let me look up what he's. Even with this game, I still think his average per carry, he only got 10 carries. It's hard to have a good yard, 10 carries. Let's see here. Lawrence Toafili. That's going to be one of the last things we do. Dex 2024. Okay. Lawrence Toafili, 2024 regular season stat. 45 carries, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.8 yard average. We can't run the ball. Offensive line can't run block. So how the fuck? How does he have a 4.8 average on 45 carries? How does he have 214 yards and 2 touchdowns? In obvious running situations, they won't run it on first down. They won't run it right after you get a first down. No, they're going to throw an incomplete screen and then run it on second down and then throw it down the field. Or throw it down the field on first down, throw a shitty screen on second down, and then run it on third down. It's like, I don't get it. But anyways, it is what it is. The offense is what it is. And yeah, that's what it is. Now let's look up the team's rushing stats here. FSU football rushing stats 2024. Number 11. Uh, he played a lot better in the second half and made some big plays. But something about how they were using 11 in the first half, like I was talking about in them regular 4-down sets, yeah, it's not working at all. Okay, so here's the rushing stats on the team here, and why I'm confused why Toafili don't get the ball, regardless of what anybody says. 45 carries, 214 yards, 4.8 average. The closest is the other guy that I said it needs to be. It needs to be smash and dash with Lawrence Toafili in the first half of these games. But for whatever reason, we don't see it until the third quarter when we're down 3 touchdowns. Okay, Cam Davis, 18 carries, 55 yards, 3.1 average. Roydell Williams, 20 carries for 55 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. Keziah Holmes, 4 carries for 12 yards, 3-yard average. Sam Singleton, 5 carries, 11 yards, 2.2. DJ Ugalele, 37 carries for negative yards. So, say what you want, the stats don't lie. Just hand him the damn ball early in the game. Even if, say that first drive, you handed it to Toafili 3 times and he gets stuffed all 3 times just like you did passing the ball. 5 minutes comes off the clock. You know? Not 20 seconds and you're done. Not a pick. But yeah, that's just for me. I like talking about it. I feel like, I feel like for whatever reason he needs to be running back 1 and whatever. That's my thing. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Love all you guys. Thank you for joining me. At the end of the day, promising things. Promising things from tight end, quarterback, and some spots on defense. Everything else is tough. Offensive line, wide receivers. Some of your safety play wasn't, it's tough, but the team didn't give up. They kept fighting. I predicted that we would lose this game 31-17. We ended up losing it 29-13, or was it 29-13? I don't even remember the final score. But I was pretty close on my prediction. And that prediction was kind of in a positive, like that we would come out and make a game out of this. It wasn't a great game. They had them shaking in their boots a little bit when we were down 10. You missed the 2-point conversion, and that kind of took a little of the steam off. But yeah, I'm all about me some Brock Glenn, and I can't wait. It's going to be we have something to look forward to. When DJU was starting, when they're starting all the seniors everywhere at tight end, wide receiver, it's like you're watching a lame duck. You're watching a bunch of guys who aren't going to be here anymore, that don't have any skin in the game, and it's just like, what reason do you give a Florida State fan to get in his car and drive to the stadium or to watch the game when it's a bunch of guys with no skin in the game that are going to be gone? Now, akin to 2021, we're tuning in to watch Brock Glenn. We're tuning in to watch which one of these young offensive linemen can step up and show that they're worth keeping around. We're tuning in to see what Amari Williams and Landon Thomas can do. We're tuning in to hopefully see Mikey Hydanzi get it together. We want to see Hakeem take that next step. We want to see Malik Benson just get opportunities. The poor guy, Malik Benson, has made plays all year. I think he's had like 3 catches down the field that have been called back for penalties. Ja'Kai, same thing. He's our guy. He's our best guy at finding the holes in zone and making clutch plays. Of course, he had the 1 drop. But, it's just tough when you have so many crazy mistakes everywhere, and then you see one of your playmakers or a veteran player make one little penalty. It's magnified. 1 drop, it's magnified. But that's just how it is. Florida State, Brock Glenn, that's our positive. We will see you guys next week. Love you guys. Go Noles. And yeah, that's it, man. We'll see you next time.